Welcome back to Caskin Points. Today is going to be a lot of fun because we will be giving Willet another try. So in a previous video I said that Willet wasn't really all that, and I generally stand by that. I think the vast majority of the single barrels just really aren't all that impressive. However, a select few sometimes are. And today we're going to be figuring out if we can find some of those select few by trying 3 recipes all at HAZMAT. So there are 6 different recipes for Willet. They have their high rye, their high corn, their original, their wheated. And then they have a low rye and a high rye, but those are both rye. So we're not going to be really worrying about those today. And the wheated is really just for their 8 years. So we're not going to be worrying about that either. We're going to be talking about the 3 that you'll find in Purple Tops. That high rye, the high corn, and the original. So I'll put all the information on your screen right now of those different mash bills. And the high corn and the original aren't radically different. The high rye definitely is. And these bottles are not cheap. Your standard HAZMAT Willet is probably going for about $650 to $750 in secondary markets, and your nicer ones can go well over $1,000. And so today I have a real treat here for you guys. So we have an original HAZMAT barrel 4373. We then have a high corn barrel 5224, and then we have something really fun, which is a high rye HAZMAT 149 proof barrel 5287. Now this is the second highest proof Willet that ever existed. And right here I actually have the highest proof, Rising Tide 151.6 proof. And I'm actually doing something a little bit funky, but I'm going to say that if this video gets 100 likes, which I don't think is that crazy, I will crack this Rising Tide and we'll do a review on it, the highest proof Willet ever. I was lucky enough to get these bottles. I will be honest, they weren't the cheapest things in the world, but we're going to find out today if I should have saved a lot of money. And they are sister barrels. They're 149, 151.6 proof, so I'm not expecting massive differences between them, but we can find out here on the channel if you guys want. So definitely like the video and we'll find out. So let's get right into it here. 3 amazing samples. I don't know what they are. These are all blind. We're going to give tasting notes. We're going to go through them all. Then we'll go back. We'll rank them all. And then we'll find out exactly what we're having at the end of the video. On this first one here, there's a really strong, sweet lavender candy on this. Wow, this is really nice. Just a pure caramel bomb here. Definitely getting a little bit more nuance into the fruit. I think there's some nice peach and nectarine in there that's really nice. A little bit of spice in there, but very little. I mean, this is really, really sweet. Really just a huge lavender bomb. Let's try this. Ooh. Okay. That's HAZMAT. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. So, this one to me is really, really sweet. It is a little bit simple. Wow, that's good, but I will say the bar here is really high. Not only are the MSRPs of these bottles $300 to $400, you're looking at secondaries that are at least double, and for the high rise, about triple that. And so the bar here is high. I'm really expecting bottles to be at least George T. Stagg caliber on this. To me, this is a real sweet caramel bomb, really, really delicious, but not absolutely blowing me away. Definitely not really winning a ton of points on complexity here. It's really sweet. It's really caramel forward. There's a little bit of that nice lavender candy that kind of indicates, yes, this is a purple top. And I was actually talking to Harsha, a good buddy of mine that actually runs the Beverage King store that has a lot of amazing bottles, like a certain KOA here that we'll do a review on sometime soon. And he was saying while trying a purple top that he tasted the color purple. And about a week later, somebody else told me that purple tops of them tasted like the color purple. And so it seems like the color purple is a tasting note here that is actually pretty common amongst whiskey enthusiasts. And I will say, this kind of tastes like purple. Now, what does that mean? To me, it means a more lavender candy. But to them, they really describe it as just thinking of the color purple and what that would taste like. I don't know. But this is really, really delicious. Definitely has that purple top funk on there, but so sweet that honestly, I'm a little bit unimpressed just because I was expecting a little bit more. Yeah, on the second sip, very similar. Very sweet. A little bit more of a kick on that one, but the palate warms up pretty quickly to the HAZMAT. It's really nice. I think I'm going to leave that for now. I think we're going to move on, but it's very good. But I'm probably somewhere in the low 8s. I'm not totally blown away by that one. But let's move on here. Wow, the nose on this one is very different. Wow, this one has a lot more like herbal funk to it. That's really nice. Definitely really hot on this one. Wow. Yeah, definitely a nice cherry on this one. Definitely have that lavender candy kind of purple top note on this one. Wow. That is really pungent. It smells a little bit hotter than the last sample. Really sweet as well, which is interesting. Like you have this herbal funk to it. You have this really strong sweetness on it. Wow. That smells delicious. Let's try it. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. That's really nice. Wow. So, at least on that first sip, and we'll see how this develops, that didn't taste like a hazmat. Definitely drank a good bit under its proof. That's not actually a bad thing here. I think the nose here is super powerful. I'm expecting the second sip here might be a little bit hotter. You have a lot of funky herbs to that. We have a really, really delicious caramel sweetness, purple top sweetness on this. Wow, that is so good. I'm loving that. Wow. I mean, easily better than the first sample. I think definitely a lot more complexity on this one. Let's take a second sip. Wow. And on that sip, oh my god, got a really nice fruitiness to it. Really nice caramel sweetness to this. Okay. Okay, we're in business. We're in business. That first sample had me a little bit worried. I thought we weren't in business. Now, today we're in business. We have some hazmats going on. We're having some fun. That's really good. That is really good. I hope that's the high rye, just because I have the bottle right here of the high rye. Now, this is a neck pour. I actually just cracked this about 30 minutes ago. So, brand new bottle. Obviously, I'm sure it'll develop quite a lot through the life of the pour. But man, I mean, obviously, I don't know if this is the high rye. I have no idea. And I'm going to stop taking guesses. I think I mentioned in a previous blind, but I know that me guessing kind of distracts from the blind. It also kind of distracts me. So, I'm just going to give tasting notes on this. I'm hoping it's the high rye, but that is really good. That is really, really good here. I want to save a little bit here just to come back to it, but I don't want to. I want to keep sipping this, but I'll leave it for now. Let's go on to this third sample, and let's see what that one is all about. Interesting. On the nose, it's definitely a little bit softer. Interesting, though. As I really get into it, it actually gets a little bit more into the nose that I was getting on the second one. Yeah, it's not all that different on the nose, except it's way less powerful. Like this second one here, tons and tons of power on this one. This one doesn't have nearly as much on it, but still really good. Wow. Yeah, so we're seeing some caramel on this one. A little bit more citrus on this one than I think I was getting on the others. Good amount of cinnamon, good amount of nutmeg. Definitely have your good old lavender candy. Definitely have your herbal funk. Definitely have your cloves on this one as well. Wow. I think it's very similar to the second one, surprisingly, but it's just not as powerful. But let's try it. Interesting. It's good. It's pretty sweet. Not nearly as complex as that second pour. Wow, that second pour is delicious. I'm looking forward to that second pour. Oh man, that's really nice. Now, I am mixing up the way I did this blind, so there are actually numbers at the bottom of these glasses. I don't know what those numbers are. They've all been totally randomized. But just going to mix up how we find out what the blinds are. Because I like the papers as well, but I wanted to do this one instead, see if it works better or worse. It's really nice. Oh my god. It's not as nice as the second one, but it's really nice. Yeah, okay. I think just at least on the initial bit here, I'm looking at that first glass as number 3, and then these next two glasses here, definitely 1 and 2. I think glass number 2 was number 1 by a good bit, but I don't know, we'll see. Let's take a second sip here. Whew, that HAZMAT is hot. So this one, to me, has a little bit of that herbal funk that I was getting on the second pour. Actually, a little bit of that sweetness that I was getting on the first one as well. Kind of mixed together, but it's not super strong, which is weird. I think the finish on this one, definitely at least medium length. I will say, I do like that HAZMATs tend to bring a nice long finish. I do really like long finishes on my whiskeys. These are definitely at least medium length, maybe even medium to long length, maybe even long length. Wow. I mean, that one is just so good here. Okay, this was a good video. I'm glad we did this video. Now, I've actually received 2 of these samples maybe back in June 2024. It's been a long time since I've had these samples. And obviously, I mean, one of them is just a totally fresh crack bottle. So I don't know how much that is affecting things. Hopefully it doesn't affect things too much. But I've been looking forward to doing this review for a long time. I'm glad we finally got around to doing it. Man. Okay. This is opening my eyes on Willet a little bit. Maybe it's not all that bad. Now, these high-rise hazmats weren't cheap, so I don't know if it's worth it, but that's a question for not another day. It's a question we'll get at the end of this video, but let's see here. Yeah, okay, this is good. Let's go through all of them one last time. Let's give some ratings. Let's give some rankings. So the reason why I keep smelling this one and why I'm enjoying the smell so much is because it's giving me a really nice caramel sweetness and then a nice butterscotch and toffee as well. And then it's really getting to that herbal funk to it. A nice cloves, nice lavender candy on it. Really delicious. And there's definitely a good amount of cinnamon and nutmeg as well. Like this one really has a nice mix of everything. It's really delicious. Let's take the sip. Wow. Yeah. On the palate, definitely a little bit more corn forward. Definitely a little bit sweeter. Still has some of that herbal funk to it. Still has quite a bit going on. But I'd say it's medium length finish. I'd say it's definitely better on the nose than it is on the palate. Like on the nose there, I could just smell this all day. Like, oh wow, I could smell this all day. Really, really nice here. But the palate is a little bit lackluster. Not that lackluster. It's still a hazmat. It's still a lot going on here. But I'm leaning towards a low to mid 8s. Like I'm at an 8.3, 8.4, 8.5 range right now. I'll take this last sip here before we go on to the second sample. This is really good. Like this is really, like this is the kind of pour that, you know, recently, and actually this last weekend, I did a barrel pick with Sagamore, with the New Era Bourbon Club, joined them. It was a lovely experience. They bought us lunch and it was great. And we'll talk about that in a future video. But after that, we had a nice bottle share, and a lot of people brought all these really cool single barrels. And I'll put some photos on your screen right now of some of those bottles that I got to try, and a lot of them were so delicious. That being said, there was one purple top that was there that I had maybe a 1/4 ounce of, and man, did that blow everything out of the water, and that's what really inspired me to do this video. Because wow, good purple tops can be really, really good. And I'm not going to go ahead and say that they're worth it. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think if you really get into the thick of it, if you really are willing to spend time learning about the particular single barrels, the particular runs, the particular releases, you can find some diamonds in the rough. But man, these are good. Let's take this final sip here. Let's give it a rating. Okay. Okay, that's good. It's really good. That's really good. I will say, as I sip it more, there's a little bit of tannic oak on that I'm not absolutely loving. And that's kind of what's holding me back from giving it like a 8.6, 8.7. I'm going to go and give that an 8.4. I think on a different day it could be even higher. I think I may even be lowballing it slightly at an 8.4, but I think that's just delicious. Let's move on to the second sample. All right. Oh, it's like the third one, but better. Oh man, there's so much richness on that. Definitely a lot of herbal funk. I will say, if you hate herbal notes, if you hate cloves, you hate lavender, this one is going to be tough to get by. But man, not only do you get that, but you get so much caramel on this, so much red fruit sweetness on this. That is funky, and that is really good. Let's take this sip. Wow. Wow. So much going on in that. That is really nice. That is really, really nice. Finish is a little bit longer. Definitely getting even more caramel on that one as it opens up even more. Man, that is delicious. I mean, that is so good. Yeah, I really like that. Now, again, like I said, there is that kind of purple top funk to it. That's a Willett pour through and through. I don't think that one will be for absolutely everybody. I think there is a unique palate that will really enjoy that. I think that some people may not absolutely love it, but I liked it a lot. I mean, I liked it a lot. I'm going to take this final sip here with you guys, then I'll give it a rating. But man, I'm in at least mid-8s here. I mean, wow. That is so, so good. Let's take this final sip. Everything has everything. It does have a nice herbal funk to it, but it has the red fruit. It has the purple top sweetness. It has the caramel. It has so much richness to it. It has a nice oak backbone to it. Wow, that is so good. Now, I think everything we're drinking here, 9 or 10 years old, and so to not tons of oak. I'm sure older Willets may have a really funky oak to it. I'm sure there's a lot more rich oak on older Willets, but man, there's still a lot going on in this one. That one's definitely my favorite for the day. Oh man, I'm between 8.6 and 8.7. I'm going to give that an 8.7. I think it's good. I think over time, I hope this is a high ride just because I really hope I get to revisit it and just see what it's like. But man, that is absolutely delicious. Let's go back to this first sample here. It's even sweeter than before. I mean, it's really pure sweetness on this one. Pure caramel sweetness on this. A little bit of that purple top sweetness. A little bit of that lavender. But that is pure caramel. I mean, that is pure. That is a caramel bomb if I've ever had one. Let's take this final sip here. It's good. It's really good. It's really caramel forward. Because it's so simple, I say that it's slightly worse than Timberland. I'm going to rate it 8.3. I think it's third today. I think there's certainly a place for it. I will say, bigger picture here. We have an 8.3, 8.4, 8.7. Now, these bottles, to me, I think these two, I really couldn't get behind paying a ton of money for. I think at MSRP, they're totally fair, though. Like, really, if you got this at $300, $400, totally worth it. I think if you're looking at $600, $700, it's much harder to justify. I think if you're already into purple tops, you like those kinds of notes, I think you can find something to really enjoy from them. But I think if I had to pick one, definitely the second sample, definitely where it's at for me. Definitely much closer to worth its secondary, unless it's the high ride, then it's still harder to say, but it's still really, really good. Let's find out what we've been having. Now, these are all numbered, and number 1 is the OG at 43.73. The high corn is 52.24, and then the high rye is 52.86? 87. Okay, this is 86. The rising tide is 86, the highest proof. But anyways, let's find out what we're having. So glass number 1 here is number 2. Okay, that was the high corn. So really sweet on that one. I think there's certainly a place for it. I just wish that place was closer to $300 or $400. I really liked it. I think it's definitely the best high corn I've ever had by far, and I think the HAZMAT really brings out a lot of the good flavors on it. But that being said, tougher to pay the $700. I think it is a little bit simpler. I think if you like purple tops, but you really love the sweetness, that's what you would get at a high corn. But generally, I just don't really find that much there that I'm obsessed about. But let's find out what glass number 3 was. Glass number 3 was number 1. Okay, so that's the OG. That's 43.73 here. And that means that our winner here is, of course, the high rye. Now, the high rye here, it was so good. It was so good. I mean, let's just... Oh man, there's the herbal funk and sweet funk coming out of the bottle. That is delicious. That is so, so good here. And I will be honest, I mean, I think it's not for absolutely everybody's palates. I think you have to really like purple tops and you have to be willing to accept it at that proof. I think going through it the first time, it definitely drank a little bit lower proof. I think going back to it actually drank a little bit higher proof. Not higher than 149, but higher than what it drank in the beginning. So it's a HAZMAT. I think the other two, harder to tell, I think purely based on the bind that it was a HAZMAT if I didn't know they were HAZMAT, but that second one is definitely HAZMAT, and 149 proof. I mean, I can only imagine how much better the 151.6 proof, 2.6 proof higher sister barrel is. It's probably not that different. I've heard they're actually pretty similar. But I hope you guys all enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun. I think our conclusions are that some Willett Purple Tops can be really good. Not all of them. So be careful. This really shouldn't go out and tell people to go and buy the purple tops that they see on their shelf unless they're hazmat somehow. But I think if we're being particular with these barrels, I think if we're looking at the best Willet barrels, some of the best Willet barrels are really, really, really good. And I think I'm gonna have another pour of this Willet High Rye after this video. So I really hope you guys had a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed it, and this was a lot of fun for me. But for now, have a lovely rest of the day, and I hope to catch you all in the next one.